Hello and welcome to the Comedy Studio Podcast,
The only podcast. I really didn't think you were going to do the whole theme song, but you did.
I have it memorized. I've listened to it so much. It's a fabulous theme song.
It is very good.
And the chorus.
Yes. Welcome to a very fun episode of
All
today's
7
show.
verses of our theme song.
Yeah, I guess now it does have lyrics, doesn't it? I just gave it lyrics with my acapella rendition. I'm your host, Beethoven. Co-host is Eli Levy. Welcome to the show, Eli.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, so much. Our special guest today is the owner-operator of the Comedy Studio. Please welcome to the show, Rick Jenkins.
Beethoven starring Charles Grodin.
That's right, the dog. I'm him. Roof, roof. Now, there's no elegant way to get into this. Well, I should wait till he puts his headphones back on, certainly.
Just making sure that our video has audio. We're good.
They don't need it. We're plenty expressive.
And who needs to hear this?
They can read our lips. There's no elegant way to get into this, so we might as well just say it. Eli made a big announcement. I don't know if he'd like to say it or if he'd like me to say it.
I think he should.
I think, well, knowing Danny's great intros for Rick, I would love to hear Danny say it. And then I'll correct it if there's anything I need to correct.
Folks, he's the owner-operator of Leaving the Comedy Studio on December 31st. Please welcome to the show, Eli Levy.
Hello. No, that was pretty
Welcome,
accurate.
Eli.
I am, after New Year's, I am Dunzo.
Splitsky.
Splitsky's out of here, baby. I'm gone.
It's a good feeling, isn't it? What you're feeling right now, because I know it.
What I'm feeling, specifically me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like once you've put in your notice and you've got a month left, because I went through this at my old job.
Mm-hmm.
I felt a sense of
You
calm.
enjoyed just as much.
It had its ups and downs, just like this one did. Thus. But I felt a sense of calm once I had made it official that I was leaving, and I found the last month or so just less stressful than the ones that preceded it.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. It feels good, to be honest. It feels good to be ready to like officially put into motion making the next big move.
Yeah. Do you know what the next big move is?
I mean, not really, but
Take
just
some Eli time.
well, I'm gonna take a little time for sure to go see my family. Finally, it's been like over a year at this point since I've seen them, so I'm gonna go see my mom and dad. I'm gonna focus on building. I'm gonna get a day job, of course, to continue to pay rent. I would love to not be homeless for my next big move.
Yes.
But I'm going to focus on building up my Twitch channel and my live streaming and my YouTube channel.
Wow.
And
That's
doing
great.
comedy, but once comedy comes back, I talk.
Well, are you gonna do Zoom comedy now that you've got more free time?
Well, not yet. I mean, I still have a month of work
Sure.
that I am
of course.
committed to doing. But
Zoom
after that,
comedy will
maybe
be around.
Yeah,
I'll check it out. Yeah.
we'd love to have you.
Oh, our shows. Yeah.
As a guest on the podcast, certainly. Well, let's get into that. What do you see your role on the podcast going forward? You'd mentioned you'd like to call in des temps en temps. which means from time to time in French.
Maybe my mind will change by the end of the month, but for now, I don't think. I think this might be my last month of being the official co-host.
Sure, of course.
I hear there's a special guest spot.
There's a lot of special guest spots. I'll be sending many of my emails to the booker of the Comedy Studio, Danny Hatch.
Oh, wouldn't it be fun for you to be on the other side of that email address for once?
Yeah.
Well, Eli, we're
See what
gonna
it's
miss
really
ya.
like. They'll be like, "Wow, it really doesn't respond in a day."
This is an automated response.
How are you feeling about
Doesn't
all this,
care.
Rick? It's certainly a big move.
Yes. I think
Mhm.
it's been yeah, I actually feel really really good about it. You know, I look at the
Now,
comedy
Eli, that must
studio.
feel great to hear.
Well, yeah, I try and put it like
I'm gonna see where he goes with this.
Yeah,
That must
without
fucking rule to hear him say
I'm
how
so
great
pumped.
he feels about it.
yeah, I
Know
put
that
it
you
like
made him
that.
feel so good. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I put it like that because that's how I've always kind of looked at the comedy studio and my role
Mm.
is you know, I feel very good. I think Eli has learned a lot in this job, and it's been about 4 or 5 years. That seems to be that window that Eugene Merman worked at the comedy studio for 4 or 5 years and moved on. You know, it's a small operation, and it's my operation, so I feel really really good when I see somebody say, "Hey, you know, I think I've learned what I was meant to learn, and now I'm ready to graduate."
Just the latest in a long string of children who have left the nest.
Hmm.
I can't wait to get that big shiny diploma.
Yeah. What have you planned for Eli's last day? Eli, pretend you're not listening anymore. Rick, what surprises have you planned for Eli's last day? No, I said pretend. Nah,
Well,
whatever.
it's New Year's.
Mhm. Fireworks then,
Yeah,
surely.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just trying to get a handle on everything he did. It's like the hole is going
Mhm.
to leave. It's Eli. If wasn't running it by himself, had a hand in absolutely every aspect of the entire business.
Mhm.
So just finding out well, just
Yeah,
finding out
you're in for
everything
a
is
real crash
involved.
course, mister.
Yeah, yeah. I really see it's going to go back, and that's also part of why I'm
Cram
saying
sesh.
it's going back to like when the club first started. Of like, okay, I have to at least understand everything,
Mhm.
and in this job, and put on my shows.
I mean, I would imagine that you understand most of it already, except for the tech stuff, which again, I really don't recommend you doing that part.
Yeah, the tech
I
stuff,
want to
but
see what that
also,
looks like, though.
yeah, also remembered when the club,
Oh shit,
I
Josh
know.
just logged in and
Who did?
Josh Mandel, our wonderful
Oh
previous
yeah.
former intern and
Oh,
new comedian.
Oh,
I
he
signed into
killed
this
it last
podcast
night.
hoping to lighten up my afternoon, and Eli rips my fucking heart out.
well, another great example of Rick's people under Rick's tutelage.
Yeah,
Moving on to bigger
he
and better things.
he
After what?
fucking
Just
Josh
you
was
wait,
with us for
Josh.
what?
Just you
4 or
wait.
5 years, I'd say.
he fucking crushed it last
He
night
did.
at the open mic.
Oh, I didn't see. He crushed it at the student showcase.
He
I
did. He's a
thought.
funny
Oh yeah,
guy.
yeah,
He had a great
yeah,
condom wrapper color joke.
yeah.
That
But I'm talking last night
really
specifically.
enjoyed.
It's like do
Hey.
it. It's
There
like
you go, Josh.
try
That
out
must
new
cheer you up.
material, and he like everyone does that. I do like a dozen jokes or something that are new,
Mm.
and he came in with like 10 minutes. It was just
10 minutes.
Yeah, it was really impressive. It's
At
like,
the 10-minute open mic? What open mic is offering
Yeah.
10 minutes right now?
this whole generation. Let's call them the Zoom generation.
We
Last
have
night it
Zoomers.
was Sally
Okay,
O'Brien's.
Zoomer.
Yeah,
Sally
Angela
O'Brien's.
Angela Sawyer's open mic, Sally O'Brien's open mic. There's no time limits.
Mm. So, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Angela
think that makes
Sawyer's-
sense.
Angela Sawyer's open mic on Sunday went from 9 o'clock to 12:30. It was
Wow.
a 3.5 hour open mic.
Yeah,
I
you've
texted her, I was like-
haven't you been to the one at the actual bar before COVID? That one
Yeah.
goes until 2 a.m.
Yeah. I'm just
Ooh.
someone actually took a nap. They did their set, went to bed, woke up, got back on the show, and did another set at the end.
I've done that at the real place. I've fallen asleep at that bar many times waiting until 2 a.m. to go on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I texted Angela. I'm like, the patience that took. I would have been like, you're going to do 3 minutes, and it's going to be material and move
Mhm.
it. And she had people saying, all right, now we're going to walk through my apartment. I'm going to show you a tour.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I would have been like, shut
Was
up and
it-
tell me your jokes.
Yeah. Well, was it good when they showed the apartment? Did they have funny stuff planted, or was it just a straight
It was,
walkthrough?
yeah, no, it was just a straight, hey, we're all in a gang together, and this is my chance to, to talk to everyone.
Mm. Well, comedy can come in all sorts of forms, including this podcast.
And it's always changing.
So I hope that was enough fun for you, Josh. You greedy little bastard.
You got mentioned.
Yeah, that's always fun when you
You
get
got
mentioned
mentioned
in
on the
podcast.
podcast.
Well, it's mostly
wow.
Rick, how do you envision the near future of the business? Then?
Well, yeah, I mean, Eli has already planned out and built the club for the rest of the month, so
Mhm.
it's just gonna be a nice chance to have a learning curve. I need to talk to Eli. I need to find a state where I can do a special show and sort of get our feet wet in how we're going to start doing things, and then I'm going to start booking some special shows through January, and we're having our business manager put together a business plan, and we're going to try to execute that.
Your
So,
business consultant.
yes, yes, given COVID and uncertainty about all that sort of stuff, it's a process of saying, okay, what have we got, and where can we go? Because I'm very clear on what I want a small comedy club with a great reputation that develops new talent, and a web presence where we do as much as we possibly can, with the idea of having a lot of community shows that come out of community. But that's in this environment, that's neither of those is possible.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of building what we can.
So what changes are we going to have to make then to make this possible? Because let me let folks in on a dirty little secret.
Yeah.
We are not making enough money.
We don't make
with
a lot
our
of money now.
showcase shows to keep going indefinitely.
And the password
And we've
I
tried
had,
our hardest to hide that from the good people who listen to this podcast. But at a certain point, it's time to put the cards on the table and say
that's
we
what,
have not been.
right, and that's what I'm doing with the.
Mhm.
We say investors, but it's really a bunch of comics and friends each put up a little bit of money so that we could do the club.
Mhm.
I mean,
And
not
yeah,
a
I have to
tiny
go to
bit.
them and say, "This is what we got."
Not a little bit. Not a teensy bit.
Right.
It's a
Well,
bit.
yeah, to open a club is, you know,
So
and
this
that
place
brings
costs
us all the
what,
way
like
back.
$800 to open?
Pretty much.
$5.
Well, and I mean it costs nothing to open at the Hong Kong. So this
Mhm.
was an
Yeah, they already
ambitious
did it.
thing.
Mhm.
This was an ambitious thing, going to having my own place at Bull
Yeah.
Market. And yeah, I fucked up in that I was just like, okay, I guess everybody else knows how to run businesses and I don't. So I just sort of said, okay, just tell me when I show up and do my jokes, and that was not the best way to go about it.
No. Well, let's say to be at least it is in a typical way for a CEO to run his company. Is that good or bad? I don't know, but it is atypical.
Right, and because I
Who am
looked
I
at
to
it
pass
as
judgment?
I'm the MC,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my show.
Yes.
Let me know if you got problems with anything else.
But it turned out you'd left two
And
letters off of your title.
Turns out I'm also the CEO.
The MCEO.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those two letters, what do they stand for?
That password still doesn't work.
Well, I'm glad you're focused for the podcast.
A lot of
Let's go through the
one.
password live on the podcast. If you want to book for thecomedystudio.com, if you want to unseat Danny as the booker of the Comedy Studio,
Oh, gosh.
let's compare
happened
let's compare passwords. Let's see. The password I
Once-
have for the booking email at thecomedystudio.com is
Once somebody
69.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Once somebody took my date book and filled themselves in for the rest of the year, and it
Really?
was about 6 months in before I realized they're
Who
not that
was
good.
it?
How come they're here
Say
all
it.
the time?
Say
How many dates did they do before you realized?
Oh, I
Name-
forget. It was like a couple months in.
Was this Rick Canavan?
Yeah. No.
What did you say to them?
Because Canavan was good. I would have been like, oh, great, every week.
Okay, that narrows it down.
Yeah.
So
No,
bad
who was
comedian in the
it?
Boston comedy scene.
I'll have to look through the
Probably
through the
5
date
or
book
6 of those.
because once I realized that, I looked back and like, yeah, that's in different ink. That's like,
That's not my handwriting.
why is that one always like that?
We mentioned booking. Rick, you're now going to be booking all the shows, which will be
Once again, welcome back to the throne,
back to the throne,
as
He's
it should
abdicated
be.
it. Returning to his rightful position as MC Escher.
Well,
What
not
are we looking
really.
at? Okay.
I am going to be booking everything, but because we're not making enough money, we're going to be doing far fewer shows
Mhm.
and trying to take advantage of name recognition. So it's not going to be Comedy Studio, we're developing new talent. It's going to be Comedy Studio presents this name that you probably, are willing to buy a ticket to see.
Sure, and maybe the podcast can be where the new talent hangs.
I'm pushing seriously to try and find some sponsorship or something because even things like the podcast have to be self-sustaining.
Mm-hmm.
The money that our investors gave us to do this is just about gone. So, you know, little little things where it's like, yeah, we'd lose a couple bucks, just aren't going to be able to fly anymore.
Man, when Danny said we should talk about this on the podcast, I don't know why I thought it would be as hilarious as I thought
Yeah,
it would be.
me either. And for the record, I've been paying to host all the podcast episodes.
Oh, yeah.
So at least we can deduct that from our
Yeah.
total sponsorship.
I also
Okay,
paid
so
for.
you're-
I also
Yeah.
paid for Rich Wentworth, the wonderful Rich Wentworth, for
Oh, yeah?
our lovely music
Oh.
tracks.
See, now that's a good example. That's stuff. There's no way you should have. Well, there's no way you should have done it. There's no way you
Probably
should have
shouldn't have,
had to
no.
do it. If I had been more involved, I would have been like aware of it. It's ridiculous that I wasn't.
Well,
I was just like,
pile
all right,
on.
Danny knows how to run a podcast. Danny, you go ahead. I'll show up once in a while. That's not the way to run a business.
Yep. I mean,
Well, sure.
I
And
mean,
it's-
it's true.
it is true. I'm glad you've come to that conclusion.
It's a great way to be an MC. It's a great way to be an act. But
Right.
now that I have my own club, I'm more than just that.
Here's a question I've been wondering.
Mm-hmm.
If you could, if a wizard showed up tomorrow night,
Mhm.
late at night, it's a ghost of Christmas past, actually, to make it seasonal.
Ah, yeah.
Showed up at the foot of your bed. And
Oh, we should
said-
do a Rick Jenkins Christmas
Yeah.
Carol of the three ghosts.
said, Rick and Scrooge, I have a proposition for you.
You
I
look
can
like
take
Eugene.
I can take you back. Yeah, you look like. I've come to you in a form that I thought you would be most comfortable seeing. You couldn't handle my true ghost form, so I appear to you as Eugene Merman, so that you'll be comfortable.
My
with
true
me.
power.
And if this ghost of Christmas past said to you, Rick and Scrooge, I alone have the
Ebenezer.
power to transport you to January 1st, 2016.
At 16, okay.
Or no, 2017. 2017.
Mhm.
What would you do differently? And you retain all the knowledge of the last 3 years. It's not quite a Christmas story scenario, a Christmas Carol scenario. Excuse me. Also, you get shot with a Red Ryder BB gun.
Oh, okay. The reason that is such a difficult thing to answer is that I am the Comedy Studio, and the Comedy Studio is me. So you're talking about my marriage, you're talking about my sobriety, you're talking about my medication. You're not just talking about the big thing would be I would have had one person in charge of the business that I could trust and would be running things and would fill in that stuff I didn't know, rather than I saw it as like, oh, these are all my friends. And if this person wants fresh cocktails, we'll do that. If that person wants to buy a photo booth, fine. The photo booth will end up
What a
paying for
random
itself.
example.
And these chairs can be used for this. Okay, get that. And yeah, let's spend extra money. For me, I wanted TVs so that we could watch acts when they did their late night shows. I wanted a green room so that there'd be a place for acts to actually like write and work on stuff. I had like four things I wanted out of the entire business. And other than that, I was like, yeah, just go ahead with anything else. So yeah, I would have done everything different, but it's not as easy as saying, oh, I would have, done everything different.
Well,
But you
no, I
would've
meing running
still
a
made the
business is
move.
not easy.
Well, the move, I had no choice. The move at the
Well, you
Hong
had a
Kong,
choice to either end
Yeah.
it there or
right? The
Pay
Hong
the
Kong
extra
had
rent,
quadrupled
but-
Hong Kong had quadrupled the rent, so there was no way I was staying there. And in
Mhm.
fact, I had already announced and was already out.
by January
before-
1st, 2017.
Yeah, before the Bow Market thing came up.
I
So-
started
and-
working there February 2017.
Mhm.
And I think around like March or April, you got the news from the Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, Michelle, this is in
Yeah.
fact being recorded. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are recording this for everyone to see.
This is
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
time
who
capsule.
cares? It's
Yeah,
fine.
I got
They
an
know.
email. I got
They
an email
know.
from the Hong Kong April 1st.
Okay.
And because I remember looking at it. In fact, I was standing right in that park across the street from where you lived in Cambridge.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at the email, and it was like one of those few times in your life where you just go, "Oh, fuck, everything has just changed."
Mm-hmm.
And that was April 1st, and then I think to myself, "Oh, this is business." So
Mhm.
I had a friend, I had my wife, I have all these other people talk to the Hong Kong because I was like, "Oh, that's business. I don't know how to handle that stuff." And after 2-3 months of negotiation, that did not work out. And I said, "All right, let's make it a clear cut date here." And I put it in Cambridge Day. I talked to Mark and said,
Mm.
we're going to be leaving
What
the
a
Hong Kong.
tease.
And the folks
Mark.
at Bull Market read that article and contacted me
Mark.
and said, "We used to come to your shows and loved them, and we're starting
Uh-huh.
this development. This would be a perfect match." So I went over there, and it was like, "Oh, geez, I don't know how to, build all this and do that." And we had someone, a friend who was a contractor said, "Well, I could build it for this," and I had a friend who had investment money and said, "Well, I would pay I would pay to have that built." And so it was just like, "Oh wow, look how lucky I am that." And Eugene said, "Oh, I'm in the neighborhood. I would stop by and do sets." And I was like, "Oh, look how lucky I am that everything just happens to come together for me."
Mm.
I mean, I think
So you would have
I think
chosen to.
there's probably a lot of signs that more questions probably should have been asked, but lessons learned. That's all you
I
can really
totally
do is
yeah,
learn a lesson.
I totally looked at it as like, "Hey, I get to do my shows."
Mhm.
And I think I drove you guys crazy with that. Every time a business anything would come up of like, should we do this? Should we do that? Should we pay for that? How many acts should we? Whatever. I'm like, "Hey, look, if I get to do my shows, fine.
Mhm.
That person is telling me to do this, but someone
Mhm.
else is telling me to do that. But, hey, look, don't bother me. Just let me do my show."
Yep. Now, it's very self-aware that you would say that because yes, it did drive us crazy. It's also a sentiment you expressed to me as recently as this past Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how it's
You
changed.
gained a
In
lot
that,
of self-awareness in the last 3
yeah,
days.
no, I mean that's how it's changed. And that's like, okay, I now got.
Mhm.
It's now like, all right, I've got to. My strength is
Doing the shows,
doing the shows.
being the face. There's no
Yeah.
company without your pretty
Exactly.
face.
So now I'm looking at just or an Instagram account. So now I'm just
Sure.
stripping, the plan. I'm looking at let's strip everything down and get it so that I can handle it. I want to meet with you every day. I want to meet with you every day and just go like, okay, so
What was that?
we've got insurance. Well, that you're excited about that. Like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, Rick,
Huh.
this would be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know that we have insurance. I know that we have Boxcast does something with Zoom so that we do a thing. I mean, I want to know from the ground up.
Mm.
That's the reason the Hong Kong worked was because it was so simple. I could
Yeah.
run it. And now, having your own place is so much more complex that now I have to learn it from the ground up.
So we had a staff meeting yesterday, which had a real grim vibe to it,
A lot of awkward pauses.
Yep.
but also a resigned vibe as well, and in a sense that there was some comfort in that resignation. What was your take on that?
On the meeting as a whole,
On the way
on
people felt
the
in the meeting.
resignation.
This podcast does feel very
Fun.
Christmas
This was
caroly.
Chris,
I was
no. Well, it's a Christmas Carol has some dark shit in there.
I was gonna say this podcast sounds very similar.
To the meeting. Well, but
I
I would agree. I would argue that it doesn't. I think that
Oh, okay.
there's some degree of levity to this that we did not have yesterday,
And a
which
live
I'm
audience.
supplying. Can I be the MC now? Can we switch roles?
I can just
Hey,
imagine Mark Levy's review of our next episode. What the fuck?
I gave you a Johnny Carson suit
Yeah.
and let you host a
You
show.
did,
Come
you
on,
did, you did, absolutely. Mark Levy's review is going to be. I recommend this shit to my readers, and then they go and pull this on me. They do one gimmick episode with Mike Kaplan, and then it's this.
It would be nice to point out that Mark Levy is our guest next week.
He will be on the show next week.
Hopefully,
yes.
hopefully he
What did I
will
get
continue to
myself
be our
into?
guest
No,
next
he
week.
must be thrilled to meet his heroes.
We're so excited to
Danny
meet
and
you.
Eli. Please continue.
I should stress that there is no relation between me and Mark Levy. We are
No.
two different Levys. But he is
What about
officially invited to the Levy Mitchell family reunion.
What about my childhood best friend Jeff Levy from Oklahoma? Are you related?
Oh, I
to
know
him?
that guy.
Oh,
No, I
good
don't.
guy.
Really, Jews in Oklahoma?
He was not Jewish.
Oh,
He was Christian.
really? Named
Mhm.
Levy at Jewish? Huh.
He went to the same high school as Blake Griffin, the NBA player. Who
Oh,
went
I
to
mean,
OCS.
a lot of
Actually,
Jews
very
go to
funny.
He is very
Catholic
funny.
schools.
Well, he did not go to Catholic school. He went to Christian school. I went to Catholic school.
Oh.
It was very hard that I went to a different school than my best.
Like
I
my
met
dad,
Brett-
his brother, all of like everyone in a lot. I know a lot of Jews that go to all the Christian schools in Memphis.
Yep.
Yeah,
See,
Look,
CBHS,
it's
baby.
a well-rounded education.
I met Blake at the Montreal Comedy Festival. He was doing sets and hosting shows.
Funny guy. Oklahoma's proudest boy. No, that's not good.
Man, wait. What
He's the
what is
hedgehog,
it? What
but
is
no,
it with
that's not
this
a word.
generation? We're just losing a bunch of words
I
that
know.
that used
I
to
can't
mean
say proud
nothing.
and boy
You
together.
can't be a
Come
boy
on.
or proud anymore. You can't
Can't
say
look
oh,
at an American flag without being like.
you can't give the symbol for okie dokie anymore.
You know, speaking of
I
which,
used to love doing
Okie dokie.
what does it say about me that I've always found Ellen Page really attractive?
What are we talking about now?
The actress Ellen Page is now the actor Elliot Page. He's come out as transgendered today.
I mean,
Says that you don't devote a lot of thinking to these kinds of things. That's the way that you
transitions are
introduce
probably not
this
your strong
thing.
suit.
I
Probably
know.
Don't
Wow.
have.
Wow, she's cute. Now I'm like, do I still find him cute?
you can.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Rick. It's 2020. Like, yeah.
I will say it probably is not going to affect your chances with Elliot either way.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
If it does, though, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I got a better shot at Cher.
When are you gonna start dating again?
The general rule of thumb is a year after you've been sober. And I think
That's
I've
the
got
general
enough
rule?
going on that it should be
Oh shit!
another half year or so.
Yeah. Do you have a plan? Have you already started planning out your first date?
Yes, I figured I'd take him to a comedy show that I'm performing on.
Good.
It
Good.
usually works well.
Good. Make sure they sit in the front, not the back, so they can feel like you're killing.
Hmm. So we're going to
where
be
were
doing
we?
fewer
Yes.
shows.
Mhm.
What day of the week do you think we should do shows on in January?
I think if we had to narrow it down to 3, which it sounds like we do,
I think we're
2 to
right now
3.
we're thinking 1.
We're okay.
one
I
day,
think
one day a week.
Well, I mean, if we don't have Eli, that's an awful lot for just Danny and Brett to.
This
handle.
is news to me. We had done a lot of talking yesterday, and
Yeah.
numbers 2
Mhm.
and 3 were bandied about a lot.
Yes. However, I had a meeting this morning where I was told that Danny made a face when you said you could book 2 to 3 shows. So we should probably make it 1 to make sure that Danny and Brett and Rick can handle it.
No, I can handle. I just no, I can handle it.
I was told that you made a face that
I made a lot of
indicated I was.
faces throughout
indicated
the
I was
course
out
of
of my
yesterday's
mind.
meeting.
A lot of faces were made yesterday.
Hey, if you believe you can do it consistently, like big, not big, but like bigger
That-
shows.
Right. I think that is the question:
Yeah.
is how you define a big show. You know,
More
you could-
thematically
yeah.
structured shows,
right.
I guess.
Eugene, Brendan,
Mhm,
you know, a guest spot from Gary, you know, stuff
Big.
like that.
hmm
Piece of cake if we've got, you know, Tony Moschetto and I think,
Ooh.
you know, exactly someone who's really, really good, not that well known. You know,
Sorry,
then
Tony.
it fills in
I'm
an
sure you're
hour.
great.
Yeah.
That feels mean to have said
Tony-
after someone's name.
Tony Moschetto,
I apologize.
I
Bill
just won't.
Burr.
I won't tag him in the
I
comments.
know he's listening. Oh, thank you, Eli.
Bill. Oh, go
You're
ahead.
such
Bill
a snitch
Burr.
tagger.
Bill Burr went on record
Mhm,
and
big.
said someone asked him what's wrong with comedy as an art form, you know, as the business and all that. He said the fact that Tony Moschetto isn't the biggest headliner in the country is what's wrong with comedy. That someone that good is that unknown.
Sounds like a Tony problem to me.
Tony is one of those through all the
Sorry,
aughts.
Tony.
I will. I will now
Means
tag
that-
Bill Burr in the comments.
Please.
Talk to anyone who's been doing comedy in Boston more than 10 years, and Tony's probably their favorite.
Now, which Tony? V?
Tony Moschetto.
I know. So, okay.
Moschetto
but
would be up in that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think your capabilities are then? Because you know what, I had some diarrhea problems yesterday too, especially during that meeting. So I was being a little maybe more negative in my disposition than I normally would be.
And another announcement that would be huge if it were any other day is I got a bidet.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
See?
Have you installed it?
That would be the whole point of the podcast.
We
that-
would
that
structure a
nothing
whole
else going
episode
on.
around that. Absolutely.
No, I have it. It needs to be
Oh.
installed.
We probably should have
You're in.
opened. We probably should have opened with the bidet.
You
Yeah.
are in.
Thing.
We should have, because now it's just gonna flutter and die. But I will say this: you are in for a world of pleasure, my friend.
Yeah. You have
Your
one.
asshole is about to be tickled. We had one in Cambridge, yeah.
Yeah.
We
oh.
don't have one here in Bethesda, and I miss it.
Our house ran out of toilet paper today, so a bidet would be fantastic right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And that shortage is coming back around. People are starting to stock up again.
Yep.
And you have a contract you can use.
I haven't found it. Really could use it right now. For those who don't get that, we were all had to sign a contract when we were first hired, rehired for the new comedy studio, and it is a horrible garbage contract that needs to be burned.
Rather onerous. So
Yes.
Eli went into the storage unit and went trying to find it.
It's locked
It's
in
in
a
a-
safe that no one
found
has the
out-
key for her. It's like I was going on a
it's in
quest.
lockbox
Yeah.
where the key is gone.
Yeah, and then we found out, well, we can just write a new one.
Yeah, that worked out.
But that's a good
Um,
example of stuff that
mhm.
I was like, oh yeah, you have people have to technically apply for their jobs again and sign. Okay, fine, yeah, I guess that's what you do. Go ahead and do that.
Did you read that contract when we?
No.
It's.
Did you read the contract?
I read it and I still signed it. It was. It was really bad.
Yeah, no, I was told, oh, this is what you do in business. Oh, okay, I guess that's what business does.
So, what do you think your capacity for booking these shows is then? Do you think 2 to 3 shows a week is a? If you think it's a realizable goal, then who am I to make a face?
No, I like the idea talking it over of doing okay, let's try one a week for January because it's easier to ramp up than it is to go like, oh shit, we got
Mhm.
that's not going to work.
With the hope being that these are boffo blockbuster shows.
We need to get about 200 to 300 per show.
Mm-hmm. If we're doing 2 to 3 a week.
Have you figured out how to market
No.
it yet?
Yeah. I don't think anyone does.
Then that's
the
going to be a big
idea
problem.
is that
Big problem.
that in this business plan is money for marketing. I myself have doubts that in this environment you can spend X and get Y.
There's literally no other way to do it.
Well, but for booking,
Booking, yeah.
you
Okay,
feel
we'll start
confident that I mean, what are your thoughts on the plan?
I start with my plan is I go to Eugene as soon as you finish this podcast and say I want to do a show and build that around what he wants to do. And then I call Brendan and build a show around what he wants to do. And then I call Gary, and if I could get him to do something, build it around that. Call Birbiglia if he'll give us like a 5-minute taped thing. Hey, maybe I can get Sam J and some of the other bigger names to do a bunch of taped stuff and make that into a special taped show. I liked the idea in December of doing a telethon. I think that'd be a really cool, fun theme that people wouldn't have to get tied into. But I don't know how feasible that's going to be this quickly. Nikki Lubarelli did something like that last week, and I watched it, and it really struck me as being very fun. But she did it on Twitch, and did all donations.
I mean, we could do something like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
doable.
Yeah, so I'm going to think about that, especially if we could figure out what day. Because that's the big thing is I don't want to step on anything we've already got booked. I don't want to call, 5 acts and say, hey, we're bumping you because we want to do a telethon.
Well,
why
I already
not
had to
do
do that for the
telethon in
Christmas show.
January.
So relationship with the acts is also
Mhm.
a huge
Sure.
part of the studio.
Why not do it in January, a telethon? Because people will have exhausted their petty cash with holiday spending.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Hmm.
The key, the
Guess
big
I answered
first
my own
step
question.
is right? The first step is for me to find some talent that would be willing and interested in it, and then to mend bridges with you and Brett and the people who are still around to see if we'd be able to fill Eli's space.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, we want to be able to hire some new people to fill that space, but that's part of the business plan that we need to get the investment to be able to do it, to do the marketing and more people and all of that.
We getting any comments, Eli?
Yeah.
Let's hear them.
All right.
All-inclusive show.
Let's see. Michelle Bazergan, who is I remember her from our open mics that we used to do. She's very good. Michelle Bazergan. She is a very good up-and-coming comedian. She asked, "Are we recording this?" And yes, we are.
Yeah.
I may delete it later, but for now, yes, we are.
No, what's going
Have
on?
we heard anything from Elliot Page?
No comments from
Okay.
Elliot Page.
Damn.
It does seem it does seem that I can no longer view posts from Elliot Page, but I don't know what that's about.
That's
Jessica
my dating
Kibble
strategy.
says, "Rick, your place matters," and I love so many comics who started there. Very nice.
Who said that?
Jessica, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Kibble,
She's
Kibel.
come to our shows, sure.
Wonderful person. Thank you so much.
Oh, she's great.
Mm-hmm. She's the one who made fun of your music, Eli.
Michelle guest star booking password 1234. Correct.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what
Well,
a
we'll have to change that. It's named after my favorite Feist song.
yeah, what a great story that. I mean, she happened to see our show. I think she heard me on Mike's podcast or something. Started watching the show, and now she's listening to the podcast live. I mean,
That's how we build a coalition.
That's the club I want to build. Yeah, she's
Well,
my
you've done it.
inspiration.
And now we can all
She's
take a
my
break.
inspiration.
Yeah, well, now we have to figure out how to do it. With the marketing we can get, with the booking we can get. It's a different business, and I have to start over with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What do you look for when you're when you're consuming comedy? And where has the Comedy Studio fallen short on that?
I don't know. I don't feel like answering that.
Okay. Do you consume comedy anymore?
Yeah.
I don't consume stand-up as much as
I like mischief.
I don't consume stand-up as much as I used to. I do watch very specific specials. Like, so far, I think the only things that I'll watch for stand-up right now is anything Dave Chappelle.
Did you see his SNL monologue? Did we talk about that already?
I think we already talked about the SNL one. Did we talk about the Instagram video?
We have not. No. But go.
Oh.
Sorry.
I loved it.
Okay. I would love to discuss that even more than what I was going to mention is Kevin Hart, the controversy
Who?
there. But
what's his? No.
unfamiliar.
Tell me Kevin
The
Hart's
Oscars
controversy.
host?
Yeah, he released a new special, and a lot of people didn't think it was up to his level, and the criticism wasn't great. And he went online defending it and telling everyone, "Hey, fuck off! I'm an artist, and this is what I do." And Cat Williams and a couple other high-profile comics came on board and said, "Shut up."
I think
Shut
Kevin.
Up,
To
shut
Kevin?
Up, shut up, Kevin. So within the
I
comic
think Cat's.
community,
I love
yeah.
Cat Williams, but I think that's completely insane.
Yeah.
Cat's lost his mind a bunch already.
And he
but-
did his video from his house when you could see like palm trees in the back, but he's all in shadow. It's very strange.
I haven't watched it yet, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say, in terms of the reaction, I think Kevin is completely in the right.
Well, how was he? I mean, like, in what way was
I'm
he
gonna
going
blindly
after
say
critics?
that.
Was he like getting real personal, or like what was he doing? That
No,
prompted
just so that
Cat Williams to say, "Take a chill pill, bro."
well, just fuck you. I'm an artist, and this is what I do, and it is funny, and it is great, and his feeling is like, yeah, I'm not doing the type of material. I'm not doing the style of material I used to do because now I'm married and I have a house and I have a home. So I'm writing material about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you're wrong to come at me saying, "Oh, it's not, you're not dancing."
Well, he's talked
Because
about
now I
being
don't
married for a
dance.
bunch of his specials. It's all been hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna watch it and I'll have more opinions then. But
So
like,
he says he's involved as an artist, and it's not fair to.
Was he doing jokes? About
I
his
think
ex
that's
now?
totally right. I mean, Bill Burr's totally evolved too. from like all of his anti-women stuff into being married, a bunch of he's
to
very
a woman, no less.
He's to a woman. He's very Bill Burr has become very progressive compared to like what he used to talk about, and he's still just as hilarious as he used to be. And Kevin Hart, I've loved all of Kevin's past specials, including the more recent ones. So I'll watch this one and probably like it. But anyone like people are way overly critical the more successful you are.
Yes, I think that's part of it. Also, we're living in an era where Chappelle is a very, very smart, thoughtful social critic as well as comedian. And I think some comics, especially black comics, are being held to an unfair standard that, you should be more like Chappelle.
I don't think Kevin should be more like Chappelle. I think they both do completely different things, and they're both extremely good at what they do.
Yeah.
Kevin's acting is insanely hilarious in movies, and his stand-up is still great.
You see those Jumanji movies?
I haven't, but I've heard they're so funny. I really want to watch them.
And he's very funny in them. No, I don't know.
Kevin Hart
what is it?
He was a middle for Yuck Yucks.
Okay.
One of the Yuck Yucks gigs I was doing, he was a middle act, and came in. And this is before you've got any media marketing, anything. And he would stand there at the room. And he's the middle act, so he's not even the headliner. And he would get everybody's postal address on their way out and send them a postcard the next time he was coming to that city, saying I'm coming. So that, yeah, he went out as a middle act, but he came back less than a year later as the headliner. And he kept all those addresses, so whenever he had a special or anything, he invented the mailing list as far as comedians are concerned.
Yeah.
You had me at I'm coming, and then you had me again at mailing list.
I think what it is a lot of it, and again, I have not watched the special people are criticizing yet, but I'm still going to say it anyway. I think what it is when people become successful, people who are not successful want that person to fail, and they want to see it so badly. And so at any chance they get, they'll just pile on you to try and get that, whoever's successful to fail.
When there's also a way that things change, you have the old guard saying it's not done that way. So there were definitely people going like, no, Kevin, what you do, you become so good that people want to come back and see you. You don't get their address and bother and pester them. You become that kid. And now, it's changed. Now you see, Kevin was right.
And in terms of
you don't go on,
yeah,
Dane Cook. You don't go online and put out crap and people, oh no, it turns out they become your fans. And
Gabriel Iglesias is the same way too. He grew to be, he is one of my favorites. I love Gabriel Iglesias, and his story is very close to the same type of growth as Kevin Hart's.
Yeah, and he came from a marketing background, and before he did his first spot, he decided he was going to have something about being fluffy so that everyone would know him by a nickname, and that he was going to wear Hawaiian shirts so everyone would recognize him when they did see him. So that was before he had written a single joke. He already had how I'm going to market this in mind.
His impressions are so good.
Yeah, I never really got into him.
Gabriel Iglesias?
Yeah.
I used to watch all of his specials on Comedy Central all the time when I was growing up in middle school. They're so funny. They're still funny. I've seen one of the older ones he did recently, and it was still good.
Yeah, and coming full circle to the Comedy Studio, that's probably one of the biggest weaknesses I've had is that I have that thinking of if I do a good show, eventually everyone will know and will come to it.
I mean, it worked at the Hong Kong because again of all the foot traffic and the location is so important to business.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it worked because I spent 20 years working at it. It wasn't until the last 2 years that we were selling out 75 seats every Friday, Saturday. Because if you think about it, there's walk-by traffic and all that, but you're on the third floor of a Chinese restaurant. There's no sign. There was no reason for anyone to accidentally walk up those stairs and say, hey, let's check out this show.
I agree that hard work is for sure part of it, but I think you need to factor in luck. There is luck to it.
Oh yeah, and I'm not building myself up that it was a lot of hard work. I'm saying that it was luck for me in having that location, everything else. The big thing I think is time. That by just plugging at it 6 days a week for 20 years over time, people who went to a comedy show once a year started coming once every 10 months.
Absolutely.
And 20 years is enough time to build that. In this incarnation, we don't have that time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jessica is a great example. Jessica will be coming to a show every once in a while. If we had 5 years to build this, we would have enough Jessicas that we'd be making money at this.
Yeah.
We don't have 5 years.
Feels like it though, doesn't it? It's been a long 9 months.
Not to me, to you. Jesus, it's been a
that's
long
it. That thinking should be is if the digital shows would be long term, but aren't you just trying to make it to reopening?
I definitely going to have some kind of a digital presence.
Yeah.
Again, ideally, I would like to have 24/7 programming on digital while we're open as well.
Well, yeah.
But that's probably not feasible.
But I mean, like right now we're just trying to keep the company afloat until we can reopen and do live shows again. In which case, you'll be making money again once that happens. And when you make money again, you'll be able to support trying to build a digital video work.
Right. And we want to have, in any case, once we're live, have that as a component. That maybe we stream the shows, maybe we rebroadcast the shows.
It's very possible
how
to
we
do that too.
Yeah, how we do that, the exact specifics of that. Yeah.
It's actually pretty easy to do. It's just that we can't use the space right now is the only problem because we have the camera, we have the sound equipment, we have everything that we need, including a capture card to live stream the camera's feed to ticketed events or anything. Anyone who can't come to the show can buy a ticket and watch it digitally.
Yeah.
It's just that we can't use the camera in the space right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of little things that we have to work on, like rights to the comedians. If we're streaming, do we have to pay them differently than we pay them for a live set? So there's a lot of little details like that.
Yeah, you'd have to make sure that the material, that the video isn't available for anyone to get anytime. It'd probably have to be a rental system, or it'd probably have to be up temporarily.
Right. Although we're seeing, a lot. Every company's doing it slightly different, but again, that's the clear vision I've had that I have not expressed to you guys.
Put it in writing.
So you just see me going like, oh, well, it'd be nice if Eugene did a show. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, because then we'd stream it and we'd do this and we'd do that. And this is how it would work. And you just hear, a 60-year-old guy saying like, it's not like when I started the Hong Kong.
You're 59.
Okay. Half and a half.
And a half. Well, not yet.
No. Good point.
Next month, this month. Oh my God, it's December. Eli, you'll have a lot of free time on your hands coming up.
Yeah,
or more than you have had. Are there any hobbies or projects you've been wanting to tackle that you'll now have the time to do?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm gonna move my camera a little bit. You see there, I've had a whole workbench set up. Right there, I can fix electronics. I like to do a lot of salvaging. Repurposing some electronics. I've built my own Bluetooth speakers from old TV speakers.
Wow.
I can officially fix Nintendo Switch controllers now. Joy-Cons. I fixed my own.
Open a business?
No. But I can do some freelancing work. If anyone needs their Joy-Cons fixed, with the Joy-Con drift, I can fix those. But I'm also trying to be able to fix other controllers and just mess around with different electronics as a hobby.
Cool. It's a worthwhile hobby.
It's fun.
It's a smart
kid.
Man. Smart man.
That's the problem. I still think of Eugene as, a kid.
Eugene's what? 27, 28 at this point?
A child.
I did that once. It was, I think, Eugene and Brendan. It was like 2 or 3 acts I sent to a college, on a college gig. I'm like, because they're college kids. They're like, he's 35. What the fuck? Like, no, they're the college kids.
They're they appeal to college kids. They have.
The gig went fine, but in my mind, it's like,
yeah.
Emerson wants 3 comics. I'll send them 3 Emerson comics.
Sure.
That's the problem with my bookings.
You're very good at identifying problems, which is hard.
That's an important part of a business.
Yeah, it is. So, keep doing
It sounds like you've lost momentum for this bit,
I've
for this
lost
hilarious
momentum.
long form bit we've been doing about me leaving.
All the air just went out of Danny's sails.
Yeah, it did.
Man, what a bit this has been,
Well,
huh?
I
What
dread
a
all these
hilarious
podcasts.
bit that
I
we've
dread
been
all
doing.
the podcasts individually. This one I really dreaded.
Yeah.
But then 3 minutes before, we were all like, "Fuck it, let's talk about it," and that gave me a burst of energy. But it has.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then walk me
We
through
need
this
mo-
because in my mind, I'm going through this saying, "All right, Danny's not looking forward to it. What do I do to make him look forward to it? What do I do to make this happy?" And then you see me as just reacting to you instead of having an idea of where I want to go that you can comfortably go to.
I don't know. I don't know.
This is the part in the show where we should have used our health insurance to make a telehealth therapist come onto the show.
Oh, if we didn't have Mark the week after, let's get Emily Ruskowski or someone we know as a therapist.
Well, I mean, we have health insurance.
Diagnose all of
We
us?
should just get a.
to come in and do a.
I would rather torture a real therapist on the clock
Yeah.
and put him on this
And not
podcast.
to denigrate Emily, who's great. Is she? She's a social worker.
Social
is she
worker,
also
yeah.
a therapist? Like,
Well, she
I don't mean
can be.
to-
She's clinical. Yeah.
But yeah, why
She has
get
the
someone?
license. Would
If
allow it.
Emily
I
is
feel like
listening
it's
to
a
this
conflict of
podcast,
interest.
I'm going to make an assumption that you don't want to do that. But if I'm
What's that?
wrong, I
Oh,
still
right.
wouldn't recommend it.
No, we should get someone with no context for us.
Yeah, exactly. A random stranger
Yeah.
who
But we'd have to. Well,
I can't. I just want to hear the part where they're like, "Hey, no one else is supposed to know about our conversations, right? I am a therapist." I'll just be like, "I don't know what you're
That's a good
talking
point.
about."
Yeah, a therapist would probably have confidentiality issues of like,
Mhm.
if you know people are listening, are you really going to be able to be open?
So we'll just get any random person who does not.
And if there's a
have
therapist
such
out there that has
constraints.
listened to our podcast, they will know that we are unusually open on this podcast.
Yeah,
I would argue we're actually
Any
more open on the
therapist.
podcast than we are in meetings and such.
yeah, I would too. There's a certain level of like the mic being freeing.
Mhm.
I didn't say that. That came out all cluttered. But there's a certain veneer that's almost lit. That there's one veneer of it is put in place over the podcast, but another of it is lifted.
The magic of podcasting. You hear that, police officers? If there's a suspect that is not giving you the information you need,
Give them a podcast.
just get him on the podcast, baby.
Schedule him as our guest.
They're going to be like, "Oh, that's hilarious that you mentioned that because me and the other criminal, we were breaking into this bank, right?"
You know, I wonder if part of it is, along with what we're saying,
It's like Mark Maron. Who are
is-
your guys? Oh, DB Cooper.
an understanding of
The
how
Night
the other
Stalker.
person can react. Like if part of the dynamic is, I can tell Danny that I don't like his T-shirt on the podcast because he's going to take it in that context. Whereas if I tell him that in a meeting, it's going to be like, wait, what the fuck?
You weren't
then-
saying that to entertain anybody. You just said
Yes.
that for no reason.
What's wrong with my T-shirt? It's a great band.
But I wonder if we're able to be a little bit more
Why don't you take
open
your
with
goofy
each
suspenders
other
off, bitch?
because we know
Michelle
that,
says your suspenders are nice, by the way.
yeah, the
They are very
context.
nice. They match your tie.
They very closely match, very nearly match the.
Yeah,
tie.
it's actually quite a stunning package you've put together for me.
I want to match the colors of your shirt.
Well, you failed then.
Oh, if
But-
if anybody's curious, I'm wearing a Wu-Tang Boston shirt. There we
I
go.
was wondering.
Oh.
Wu-Tang forever. All right. Anyway,
Wu-Tang forever.
Wu-Tang
You know,
forever.
I've got that record, Martin. I stole it from Martin Shkreli.
You're doing God's work, Danny.
Pretty good. Oh, I'm never gonna share it, but you shouldn't get it.
Who has that now?
Me. I just told you.
Danny
I
Hatch.
know it got the IRS took it for.
Yeah.
Dude, I bet
know.
the IRS is fucking slamming down to that record right now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, what were you saying earlier, Rick? About stuff?
I just wonder that if we're a little bit more open with
mhm.
each other on the podcast because it has a different context.
Yeah. Look, I'm tired.
I think
I'm
exhausted
very
is the
tired.
word that came up. Yeah.
I can't. So I guess I can't say that us talking about this was a good idea for the podcast,
I
but
think
we
it
did
was,
do
I
it,
think
and
it
we are
was.
going through with it, and we have done it for an hour. It is the longest bit
Yeah.
we've ever
Wow.
done on this podcast.
No, I think it was, and I liked to shy away from keeping it real on the cast, but I think this was good to do or to be doing still. We're doing it in such a way that we're all still friends afterward. I mean, we're just laying it on the table.
Well, and something else
I'm sure it'll be fascinating to people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So something else I have to keep in mind is that I, like an extrovert, I love comedy. I get energy from working on comedy, from consuming comedy, from doing comedy. I get more energy. You guys are at work. You're not going to get, it's draining. It's exhausting. And I'm running around going like, hey, did you check out Kevin Hart's thing? And you're like, I've got other things in my life.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Parts of it are fun. That's why, we do it.
But it is still a job, and that means that it's not going to be all 100%. I love this.
Oh yeah, I mean, when we're not podcasting, Danny and I are answering emails or making events or scheduling or writing contracts or doing work.
Yeah,
paying payroll.
Yeah, and part of the start of it was, hey, you got, I'm gonna have other people do all that stuff I don't want to do for me.
And to your credit, you've paid us to do it.
That's how it.
Well, okay, so when it comes to delegation is important for.
Terrible at it, yeah.
But it's an important skill to learn. In fact, any weakness should be honed.
Right, but I delegated badly in that I was just like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do it. I don't want to do it. You go ahead and do it. That's not how you delegate.
Well, that sounds like you've learned a lesson then.
Well, how do you delegate?
You delegate by giving context, by letting people know what's expected, by letting know what they get out of it, what they're expected to do. The parameters, structure,
clear directions, and balanced oversight.
Yeah, and communication as it's doing it. Yeah,
communication is extremely important, and
yeah, I mean,
communication maybe could have used some improvement.
Yeah. Yeah, I was used to running everything by myself, and it's like I don't want to communicate with anybody.
Well, coming up on an hour here.
We've hit an hour and 5 minutes, yes.
These last 9 months have absolutely sucked shit. and they have not been without their bright spots.
I thank you for going through it.
Well, I thank you for bringing me along, bitch. I'm sorry, sir.
God, I can't wait for it not to be okay to call my boss a bitch.
In all of these, in all of these exchanges and everything, I've been talking to a lot of people. The one thing that comes up, absolutely, just about everybody has said, I don't like the way somebody else talks to you.
I can say that countless times.
Like, I don't like the way that person talks to you, Rick. Yeah. I don't like the way that person talks to you, Rick. And about each other a lot of the time.
I think we've told you that many times.
Yeah.
About many different people.
Feedback on how I talk to you.
And I'm going to tag each one of them in the comments right now.
I am taking a stock on it. Is it something I'm doing? I think part of it is simply that I'm really attracted to people with strong personalities, and by the time I fart around enough, they're just a little frustrated, and it's like
I will say I have definitely seen you let people openly disrespect you to your face.
Yeah.
And I would definitely not handle that the same way.
Yeah. In fact, I would argue I don't think you've ever seen me take offense or
No, I have not.
I've seen you get close.
Yeah. I mean,
but
I've seen you take offense at things that were not the most offensive thing said to you.
Yeah, what sort of personality flaw is that I look for self-deprecation from other people?
Well, when I call you a bitch on the podcast, I want you to know it's coming from a place of deep respect.
And it's the context of the podcast.
That would be a great segment.
I don't call you a bitch in our regular day-to-day interaction.
That would be a great segment to have on the podcast, Danny, as we have each person that's openly disrespected Rick. Hey, listen, when I called you a bitch, I just want you to know that was...
We'll do a self-esteem intervention.
It'd be a long podcast.
That would be a very long podcast.
And it would have people I'd rather not interact with on it.
I mean,
So-
I would definitely handle that very differently. I let one magician disrespect me once, and I
Mhm.
almost messed them up in Harvard streets.
Well, Rick,
Boy, if Josh Mendel is still listening, he had a really, really good bit. We had a good conversation. He had a really good bit about a magician, and
The same
it's
magician?
pretty dicey. Yeah, pretty dicey material. And we had an interesting conversation about the fact that since he knew that magician, he wasn't describing him well enough for the audience to know.
I will never be.
Okay.
I have never been so proud of you, Josh.
Rick, do you feel
Different magician.
disrespected by me?
No, well, that's it. I don't feel
Okay.
disrespected by anybody,
Oh.
but clearly I am.
Well, I do. I
Clearly no one has any respect for me, and I'm like, oh
no,
yeah.
I have a lot of respect for you. I really do.
I think everyone
um,
really respects me at first, and then you start working with me and going like, wait a minute, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking
No,
about.
you do. And
Well, I respect you, but it sounds like a lot of times that you don't respect yourself. So that's the important part.
Interesting.
That's part of the therapy I'll do at 3:00.
Ooh,
Yeah,
maybe
push
that'll be
it.
my
We
next
go
job
long
as
on this one.
telehealth therapist with no experience.
Tell him you don't need it today. You already got your fill on the
do,
only podcast.
I do group on no, I've got individual on Tuesday, once every other week. Group on Thursday. Thursday night, I've got an AA meeting, and I just started a new Monday, Wednesday, Friday AA meeting of just comedians, and it's a national thing, so it's nationally known comedians in AA.
At
I
a
should-
certain
I should
point,
pay a cover charge.
do the meetings become the new addiction? Are you just filling the hole with meetings?
That's
I
been
can imagine a
discussed.
therapist asking, wondering if that's the worst question he's ever heard.
What I just said?
Well, I can imagine a therapist going, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
does happen.
Yeah,
It does happen.
it's
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah,
I've
not
read
to me.
Infinite Jest.
That, and also working out.
Talk about it in there.
A lot of times you'll see addicts trade, substance of their choice for,
Mhm.
for
Cigarettes and
working
orange
out
juice.
or
Yeah, you should start smoking. It's safe to do it now. You smell really good.
It's safe to do it as long as what you're smoking is like banana cream flavored, whatever
Mhm.
vape flavor you go.
Yes.
It has to be like rainbow flavor.
Must be raspberry razzle dazzle
Does it seem like
nicotine.
there's been
Raspberry
less
glitter.
vaping?
What?
It seems like
Yeah.
there's been less vaping in the past year or so.
You have not been
It
around as many
depends. It
people,
depends
though.
who you play Xbox with. I play Xbox with the Boston comedian Al Kostakis, and I clearly hear him chugging on his vape while we play Call of Duty.
Yeah, I quit vaping. Nicotine. I still vape THC, but
and
I think-
cigarettes are gone.
cigarettes have 2 years.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. We flirted, tobacco and I, but in the end, I said I'll start vaping, and then I stopped vaping.
And your partner as well?
I don't speak for her.
Okay.
Good
She
call.
doesn't
Good
smoke
call.
cigarettes either, though.
Oh, okay.
We were both dunzo on the old death sticks. But I hope you don't feel disrespected by me, even though sometimes I get frustrated, and then I feel really bad. I do. I feel really bad when I get frustrated with you.
I should not-
Because
I always see it as valid
you're
criticism.
trying. Oh yeah, it is, but it makes me feel bad to give it. And you are so measured, and you don't really dish it out either. You don't criticize usually, or you don't lash out.
You learn a lot more by listening than you do by talking.
The mantra of every podcast. Well, this has been a good one, I think. Anything else? Any stones we have left to unturn?
This will be our Wu-Tang album.
Have we gotten any more? Yeah. No,
Only
it's
one
coming out.
person saved it. My God.
Martin Shkreli's going to come in here and steal our podcast
This
Listen
is
to it
just
in
like being
jail.
in jail. Yeah.
and hike up Benadryl to 400%.
Any other comments? People loving our shit today?
No new comments, no.
I think
think
people
all
like this.
questions
I
have been
really
answered.
do. I think that
Feel free to contact me.
we're all going through it.
The password for the booking email is
If you know,
I don't
please
think we
contact
figured
me.
it out yet. I don't think we know
No,
what
I
it is.
don't. I've been typing in what I would have changed it to. And
Can I give
so-
you
Well,
a
no,
hint?
we know what the new password is. We're just not going to say it out loud on the
Mm-hmm.
podcast.
I'll give you a hint though.
Hmm.
You know it.
That's a good hint.
Okay, comedy recommendations. Rick, go. Oh, and local business too. We're gonna stop doing that, by the way. Once you're not on the podcast anymore, Eli. I'm running out of.
Sorry, local
businesses to shout
businesses.
We
out.
ran out of that. Yeah, long time.
I'm
Long time
sorry.
ago.
I mean, we also
Maybe
started
we'll do
running.
the Eli Levy Memorial.
This may be a
local
dark
business
joke, but we
shout
also
out.
started running out of local businesses.
They're closing faster than we
Yeah.
can shout them out.
Yeah, I'd give that as a shout. Once was a terrific independent music venue, and they closed on Thanksgiving, which really affects us in that JJ was spearheading the local chapter of the Independent Venue Association, which we are a part of, and so now it's
JJ,
even like JJ Gonson.
who managed my favorite musician,
Yeah, Elliott Smith.
Elliott Smith.
See, don't disrespect me.
I would never, sir. Can you get me a meeting with Elliot? What's he been up to these days?
He's the ghost of my Christmas
Been
present.
a while.
Um.
Oh, Rick. That
So
was
yeah,
sad.
definitely shout out to her. In fact, if you want to go online, she is now giving away the chairs and all the fixtures and everything. So if you want some sort of souvenir or remembrance, you can go to the one's website. I would also say, hey, Bow Market is now going to be doing eating indoors in our space. They've put up booths so that everything is socially distanced and ventilated and really, really safe. So look into that. For comedy, Eli mentioned the Chappelle 18-minute thing with the caveat of do a little digging because he presents it very black and white. And there's a lot of talk from the industry side of, hey, you knew
Oh, I'll
this
bet
deal.
there is.
Yeah, you knew this deal. This is what you signed. And you're not exactly going to bat for other comedians saying the deals should be different. You're just saying, I want
That's
more.
the industry saying it. Of course, that sounds so industry.
Right. Yeah.
That's so hilarious.
Yeah. So that's
Which industry? The auto industry?
It's the
basically-
it's the baking good industry.
Classic joke.
basically
The
the way
baking
the
industry.
network would come to like us and say,
Mhm.
hey, we'll give you $100,000. You have to turn in a half-hour pilot for a show, and we would go, oh, okay, great. And then the pilot goes well, and they say, okay, we'll give you $500,000, and we need 10, 12 episodes, and we go, okay, great. We make them, we turn them in. Then it makes a ton of money, and now we're saying, hey, that pilot I got at $100,000. That's I should get at least $3 million because you made $9 million. So that's the basic argument. The basic argument is the networks say we invested the money, hoping it'd be successful. If it wasn't, we were going to be taking the loss. We're saying, hey, it was successful. We should get more of that.
They're out of their fucking minds. They could HBO. All HBO needs to do is either take it off their platform or pay them more money that they can afford to pay them. That's crazy.
Well, but I mean, they bought it. They said, "Hey, Dave,
They bought it
Yeah,
from Viacom.
yeah,
Not from
Viacom
Dave
will give
Chappelle.
we'll give you X amount for that product."
I guess, but at the same time, Dave made it. They would never
Well, you
exist
got-
without Dave Chappelle.
So you bought Dave's special, and now Dave comes to you and says, "I don't want you watching that because I don't like the deal I got from Comedy Central."
I mean, I like Dave enough that I like.
bought it. I'm gonna watch it.
Well, I like Dave enough that I'd rather support him.
Yeah, but systemically, you can't do that with all the X. So anyway, that's I automatically take the other side, no matter what side that is. So
Yeah, I'm on Dave's on this one.
yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, just a whole shitload of just interesting stuff. Like I said, comedy is everything. I'm already trying to narrow it down to just 6 items for the newsletter.
You
'Cause
can do more.
I've got 12.
Throw them all at me.
12 days of items for the newsletter.
I'll pick and choose. Narrow it to 9. Well, 8.
Well,
8.5.
When I give you more than 6 jokes, it's always only 6.
It's true. Do you ever are you ever like, boy, I wish he'd included this one and not this one?
Yeah, sometimes I'll
Some
look
of
at
them
it
I
and go
don't
like,
understand.
that one. You generally go for anything that's political. You'll take over anything that's more evergreen.
We live in a political world, Rick.
Yeah. Let's see. We're going to have gift cards. We're going to have classes. Classes are now up online, so you can sign up for classes.
Are you just reading what will be in the
The
newsletter
workroom
later?
and the class. Sean and Marie Connolly had a baby. That's very
Congratulations.
exciting.
We'll save it for the newsletter.
Our Instagram now has 999 followers.
Wow.
We have more than that. We have over 2,000 followers.
That's what I saw on the thing. My friend,
I'll show you right now.
We got a message from someone.
Yeah, my friend Heater Case has a cute little take on Queen's Gambit.
We
Our friend Lucas Smiley has written 2 books, and I am actually featured and pictured in one.
We actually have 2,749 followers on our Instagram account.
Oh, what did I see? That was 999.
Well, we are following
watching Brooklyn
1,004
Nine-Nine?
people. You saw the number of people that we follow.
Oh, okay.
So we follow 1,004 people because whoever's been running our Instagram account has been on Team Follow Back. Nice.
Oh, okay.
But
I followed and thought it was.
no, we have almost 3,000 followers.
I'll take that out of the newsletter.
Oh, good.
And we have posted 878 times. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
Steve Brickman wrote a funny thing for
all right,
Medium.com.
that's enough out of you. Thank you.
That sounds like disrespect to me.
But it's a podcast.
Dr. Disrespect. Shout out to Dr. Disrespect.
I'd like to recommend the White House.
Somebody's been posting in a lot of the buy sell pages in Boston that you can get like commemorative the most historical event in American history, like commemorative Donald Trump, him leaving the White House coins and shit.
Definitely gonna be worth a lot of money one day. No, it's a business, right? Lots of business deals go down in the White House, and it's local to me.
Instagram has a Somerville turkey page, and it's the turkey that comes in front of my house every day at 6:30.
What's his
Stops traffic, and it gets he gobbles, and there's car horns honking every day at 6:30 in front of my house. And he has his own Instagram page.
What do people think they will accomplish by honking at a turkey?
Well, it's on a hill, so the first car that's trying to get around him stops, and all the other cars behind it just sees the traffic has stopped.
And this happens every day.
Every day, and the turkey stands and stares at my window.
Man, the amount of power that turkey feels must be so great.
And that's the closest relationship you've had.
That's probably the closest relationship I've had this
Hungry eyes.
Well, we should have him on the show. Or her. Are turkeys men or women?
This is a male turkey.
Or male or female? They're neither men nor women. And for my comedy recommendation, I'd like to recommend, gasp, another podcast, a specific episode of one, the Andy Daly Pilot Podcast Project. Comedian Andy Daly has a lot of characters, and he, about 6 years ago, did a short run podcast where each episode was a different podcast pilot that one of his characters was doing. And the Travel Bug with August Lint is one of the episodes. It's one of the funniest hour, 20 minutes or so of comedy podcasting you'll find outside of this episode. So it's very funny. It's got.
I used to love him and follow him. What's it again? Give us slowly.
It's called the Andy Daly Podcast Pilot Project, and the specific episode I'm referencing or recommending is The Travel Bug with August Lint. You can also listen to its sequel, which came out about 4 years later, The Travel Bug with August Lint Live. But I think his August Lint character, he's a German tourism fanatic who is also obsessed with killing himself, and he works in a pretzel factory. It's very funny. And he has on Matt Gorley as H.R. Giger, Paul F. Tompkins as Werner Herzog, and Matt Besser as Pope Benedict.
Wow.
It's a fun time of bad German and Swedish accents.
Great recommendation.
Thank you, sir.
All right. With love. Okay, let's see. I'd say first for my business recommendation, I'd like to recommend a new pizza place that me and my roommates just tried nearby called Universal Pizza and Shawarma in Allston, Massachusetts. I believe they're a new pizza place because they only have 96 reviews, but who knows? But we had a meat lovers and a white 3-cheese pizza, and they were both incredible. And we also had a chicken shawarma that was fantastic.
Nice.
So Universal Pizza and Shawarma in Allston, Massachusetts. They did not pay me for this shout out. In fact, I paid them for pizza last night.
I will be calling them about sponsoring us, though.
They're delicious.
Hey, someone who's about to not be on the podcast anymore shouted you out. Can you sponsor us? Or in whatever capacity.
Hey, listen, somebody you don't know that doesn't work here anymore shouted you out. Do you want to give us $20 to sponsor? They are very good.
Pizza.
And then for my comedy recommendation, I'm like looking around my room for inspiration. I didn't think about it. This
poster behind you. Is
I
that
can
a show I
reread-
should get into?
I didn't
I can
think about
reread
it
the
this
newsletter.
time.
No.
I would actually recommend. I'm blanking.
Well, we could do Danny and come back to you.
I just went.
Oh.
You complimented me on how good it was.
I could do more.
It was 5 seconds ago.
Oh no, I would actually recommend watching Iron Chef. All the episodes are on YouTube, not official, but there's like a playlist with all 470 episodes of original Japanese Iron Chef. It is the greatest, most hilarious cooking show I've ever seen in my life.
It's funny that Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man and Jon Favreau is the chef, but they're not the Iron Chef.
No, they're not. The Iron Chef is hilarious because it's just a rich guy in Japan who's just called the chairman, and all he wants to do is eat delicious food. So he created this show and like funds it himself, and he went out and found like the greatest chefs in Japan for each like type of cooking. There's an Iron Chef for Japanese cooking, there's an Iron Chef for Chinese cooking, there's an Iron Chef for French cooking, and an Iron Chef for Italian cooking. And then a challenger comes and can pick one of those Iron Chefs to challenge them on a one-on-one battle. And the chairman funds it just so he can eat the food from both people.
So it's like Mortal Kombat, but
Dude,
for food.
they hype it up so much. It's called, the place they compete in is called Kitchen Stadium, and they come in like a full battle, and like they have insane music playing. They give them all background, like they do a whole background of each chef and each Iron Chef, and then like he has them challenge one of the Iron Chefs, and they come up in pedestals that rise up, like this.
Sounds very good.
It is awesome. And like, so if you don't know Iron Chef, each battle they have to compete using, they both have to use the same like ingredient of the day. So like they'll have like a squid battle or pork belly battle, or one episode will be like a spice battle.
I would just blow chili powder in my.
The other part is
eye.
it is all dubbed. Like it's all Japanese, so they dub it, and the dub is very funny.
Yeah, sounds ripe for an SNL human flesh battle. You know, you get
no. Let's just sit with
human flesh battle.
Yeah, Hannibal Lecter versus Jeffrey Dahmer. I see that sketch already.
There was an episode we
You have
watched
to
a
bring it to
couple.
life.
There was an episode a couple days ago we watched where the challenger, his whole thing is that he uses the biggest knife in all of Japan to cook with,
Ooh.
and it's like a sword. It's like a machete-sized knife, and no one could stop talking to him about his big knife.
You call that a knife? That's not a knife.
He like came in like he had it sheathed like a sword.
Wow, a Danny Trejo sized knife. Right. 'cause
It's
he
all.
was
It's also from the age when like cameras were not good yet, and also when like graphic design was not good either.
So they must have rebooted this for an American audience then, and that's what, because I've heard of Iron Chef, but
I mean, it got picked up by Food Network, but it was never rebooted or anything.
Huh.
It's just it was dubbed over. That's
Wow.
it.
Well, this has honestly piqued my interest.
You
in watching
go to
Iron
YouTube
Chef.
and just look up Iron Chef Japan, and just there's a 400 video playlist. That's the one, and just like crab battle's great. We watched pork belly battle. We watched lamb battle. Lamb battle's awesome.
Oh, I made lamb Saturday night. Which night?
The thing is, the chefs
Saturday.
have to like do stuff that's like they have to make dishes that no one's ever seen before, basically. And so you get these insane, like artistically created, designed dishes. Like each one of them will make like 4 dishes in an hour.
I made a pretty good ratatouille with lamb chops. Do you think I'd win?
That sounds delicious.
How much does being high help?
In
Watching
what?
the show?
I'm watching Iron Chef.
I mean, it helps a lot, but it is just a very good show to watch. But
Big
I will say
concept.
that unfortunately, just coincidentally, I have been drunk and high watching that show at 2 a.m. But it is still very good.
The best time to be it. All right, guys. Well, hey, this is a good one.
Should also point out I'm
Peek
hosting
behind
the
the
Boston
curtains.
Comedy Festival Wednesday night.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And the Comedy Studio Friday, Saturday.
Where
and
can
Sunday.
people find the
Yeah.
Boston Comedy Festival show?
Surely at a local Boston club's website, I would imagine. It's got Boston Comedy Festival in the name.
Yeah, the BostonComedyFestival.com or Flappers.com
What?
or each comedian who's
Flappers?
on is
Flappers in Burbank, California.
That's
each
not the
comedian
Burbank
is
Comedy Festival.
given a whole press thing to put out that each comedian has to have the link and everything on their site. So if you know anyone who's doing it, they can put
In
you
that case, I'll
touch.
just tag BostonComedyFestival.com.
Smart way to do it. Yeah, and throw in a Flappers tag while you're at it.
What day are you hosting, Rick?
Tomorrow night,
Okay.
Wednesday, December 2nd
Great.
at 8 o'clock Eastern time.
I would hope that's in the newsletter.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking, because we have a show that, Angela's doing her show. So I was thinking I wouldn't want to.
Well, it's your call, but it's you.
Yeah.
So I think our newsletter readers would like to know that. But it's
care more about the club than I do about me.
Hey, speaking of caring about the club, it's clear that you do. And this was a good episode of the podcast, I thought. It's good every once in a while to, take a shower in the hot acid heat of feelings. And that's what we did today. We all took a hot acid feelings shower.
What we learned today is that podcasting is an art form.
Yeah.
The Comedy Studio Podcast, the Silkwood Shower of podcasts.
The ultimate hangout podcast.
Yeah, sometimes the hangs don't always go well.
The ultimate intervention podcast.
We have to be on our best behavior for our guest next week.
The ultimate best behavior podcast.
He'll take what he can get, and he'll like it. All right, guys, we will talk to you next week with our special guest, Mark Levy from Cambridge Day. It's a pleasure knowing the two of you, and have a what? I'm trying to end it.
You're a cool guy. You're both cool guys.
Rick, you can have my PlayStation 4 if you want. No reason.
You should keep
all
that.
my worldly possessions away.
Yeah, like that's the one I would want.
Boy, I didn't
you can
even
watch movies on it.
I haven't even asked you how Spider-Man's going.
It's great. I beat it. It's awesome.
I could go put together my.
Now what?
Well, I have Grand Theft Auto, and also there's downloadable. I haven't. So I beat the storyline, but there's like side missions that I haven't finished. But very emotional story, I gotta say.
For Grand Theft Auto?
For Spider-Man.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto's story, GTA 5 story is very good. To be honest with you.
It's very cinematic.
The Rockstar is like the most cinematic of all the game companies, besides Metal Gear's Konami, but without what's his name? Metal Gear Solid 5.
Can people listen to this on double speed?
Oh, Kojima? Yes, they can.
Yeah. Kojima is
I
very
would recommend
cinematic
it.
as well.
Oh, fuck off. Sir. All right, this has been a pleasure and a privilege, and we will
And a fucking chore.
talk to you tomorrow. No, it's good. Don't swear.
Bye.
Bye.
No swear. Bye-bye.
Ooh, pizza's here.